Yes, Pata, right. Can we start or should we wait for some more time? Hello. Should we start? Can we start or should we wait for some more time? Hello. Are there any more to join? Slide two slideshows I have given to you, right? So yesterday I went through the first slideshow, right? There we discussed the initial parts. Now, actually, the rest of the slideshow, right, contains some information about early psychologies, right? So you could read it, right? But it is not that relevant. But in order to increase your knowledge and to be updated about the subject, it would be useful. But you are not supposed to learn those things by heart, right? Only the basic idea you have to have, right, as to what psychology is and how psychology came into being and what kind of schools of thought are there, right, and what differences are there and all that, right? So today we are going to deal with the second slideshow. So please switch on your second slideshow, which contains my presentation, right? Please come to it. Okay. Are you ready with the presentation now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Let's come to the first one, right? Okay. Education psychology. Right now, what is psychology? It is going to be more or less an interview session where both you and I equally talk, right? Now I have about 9 students, right? So I want each and everybody to contribute, right? So when it becomes an interactive session only, this would be fruitful. Otherwise, it is useless. Now, according to Malcolm Novels, right, who's done a lot of research on pedagogy, right? One basic feature of adult learning is that adults like to contribute what they know in a in a learning session. So I hope you also have the same qualities since you all are adults. So please contribute in whichever way possible, so that it not only will enhance your knowledge but also will build your confidence, right? Let's come, right? Okay, what is psychology, right? How is the word psychology derived from? What are the two Greek words? Yes. Yes, Putra, you need to speak. Psych and logos. Okay. Okay. What does psych mean?
Soul.
Soul. Very good. Logos means
Science.
science or study. It means science or study, right? Right. So yesterday it's study. Yeah, science also is studying the truth. Right. Okay. Thus psychology was
Science of soul.
defined as the science of soul. It was first defined as what? Science of What was his contribution? Wilhelm Wundt's contribution? Yes. Yes, Fuda, right? You have to discuss with me. What was his contribution? Hello. Right. Do you know who Wilhelm Wundt is? Who is Wilhelm Wundt? Tell me, please.
Father of psychology
Father of
as a science.
psychology.
Yeah. I mean, we call him the father of psychology in the sense, right? As a science, when when psychology, right, establish itself as a science, right? The person who pioneered that is none other than Wilhelm Wundt, right? His greatest contribution was establishing the first psychological laboratory. His contribution, establishing the first laboratory for psychological experiments. So he believed if psychology is a science, then all these now whatever the investigations are done in psychology should be done in a scientific manner. So in order to do it in a scientific manner, right, you need to collect information, analyze information, and right, so, you have to kind of study these things in a systematic manner. So in order to do this, right, he he wanted to initiate an institution. So it was the first laboratory. So therefore he established the first laboratory. So this first laboratory was established in a Leipzig University in Germany. So the year was 1879, right? So that was his contribution, right? Now he gave life to a school of thought called structuralism. So there was some he had some other ardent supporters. One is Tishner, right, who elaborated on the work done by Wilhelm Wundt, and he is the one really who implemented what we call school of thought. What is the name of that school of thought?
Structuralism.
Structuralism, right? So what is the basic idea of structuralism? Right, what was the idea proposed by him and they proposed in order to study the mind, you have to study the
Introspect.
what are the constituents of mind. I mean, that is the method. What are the constituents of mind? Constituents mean parts. Thoughts. Process of our thoughts. Is it clear? Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if we want to do any search or any in scientific investigation in any body, what we need to do is to study his thought processes, right? His thoughts. So in order to study those thoughts, what do you need to do? You have to have a mechanism to understand, learn his thoughts. So the third use was introspection. Introspection means looking into oneself. That means now, if you are the person who is subjected to a psychological research, you have to tell your researcher, the psychologist, the experiences you underwent at a given time. So the job of the psychologist is to write down or tape record all the things you say and studying it in detail. Then only you can then only the psychologist can understand whether you have a problem or not. So if there is a problem, then he can propose some clinical therapies only based on the research or research you are doing. Is it clear to you now?
Yeah, online and
Yes, sir.
Okay.
online and
Okay. Then there were many followers for this, but and also there were some when the number of followers increased, then came a number of criticisms. Right now, the main criticism was that the method employed for this was not very reliable. So people like William James, right, they contradicted this idea, and they said, right, the methods used in introspection are reliable, so they have to go for some other thing. In the meantime, they said the concept is abstract like soul. Now I told you earlier it was a study of soul, but since soul was intangible and soul could not be located, and it was more of a abstract concept. This structurally settled down to the idea of mind. And the mind also, right here, mind also is really the consciousness. Right? So then William James, who is the proponent of functionalism, he gave the idea, he proposed the idea. You, in order to right, for psychology to be a science and for it to be systematic, right, you need to follow a more reliable method. So they wanted to study the function of the mind. Function of the mind in the sense what your conscious thoughts, your consciousness is the thing they wanted to study. So from mind earlier it was the study of constituents of mind under structuralism. Then under functionalism, it is the study of consciousness. So how to study it? You study the functions of the mind. So how do we study the functions of the mind? We observe how people behave in given situations. So the method they use is observation. Earlier it was introspection. In the second method, it is the observation. Now observation is a more reliable method and more acceptable and more scientific method than what? Introspection. We discussed even observation can have its loopholes. So in order to make it more reliable, right, you can increase the validity of observation by increasing the number of observers and also introducing certain observation schedules with defined checklists and all that, right? So likewise, psychology kept on developing. Then came this person, Sigmund Freud, who revolutionized the subject area called psychology. So he was now, earlier all these people were dealing with now though it is mind, though it is the function or whatever, these schools were dealing with the consciousness, conscious thoughts, right? But Sigmund Freud is the person, in addition to consciousness, right, there are two other aspects which are equally important and which are equally contributory to our behaviors and our behavior disorders, especially for our behavior disorders, right? Our unconsciousness and our subconsciousness is contributory. So in order to explain that, Sigmund Freud explained, right, mind, he described our mind to consist of three parts. What are those three parts? Hello. Yes.
id, ego and superego.
Id, ego and superego. Okay. What are the functions of all these three? Yes. What are their functions? Yes. Puta, you have to tell me. Right now, I told you that today I would be discussing because these things we discussed yesterday. Okay, Darunikian, right? Tell me, please. What are they?
Interpersonal observations.
No, id, and superego. Right. So our mind is divided into these three categories. Right. Our mind comprises of these three. So what are the functions of each of these components? What is the function of id? What is the function of id? And what is the function of superego?
So it is like the wild emotions, like
Uh,
which you have like to enjoy, and super ego like disciplined behavior, well, like mannered behavior. So ego is in the middle, like who controls the both and get into like
Very good, very
what we
good.
should do.
You are exactly there. Right. Now, according to Freud, 80% of our mind comprises of id. So id is all the wild emotions, all our animal behavioral patterns, and all our desires in us, all the desires in us. Right. So why do we call these animal behavior patterns? Because most of these things are very wild, right? So only intention is pleasure seeking. Only intention is pleasure seeking. So they right it wants to satisfy senses. Always want to satisfy senses, right? But superego, it has the job. It is really concerned with morals, right? And our conventions, our rules, social rules, right? And all the social restrictions that are there, right, for our behavior. So it serves as a mechanism that controls our wild behavior. So that is why, right, although they are right, although each and every human being has a beast in him or her, right, that beast come out because there is controlling mechanism. There is a policeman who always controls us, right? Who is this policeman? Super ego. He controls. No, you can't do it. It is not allowed. It is not accepted. It is not social. Likewise, then the job of the id is to compromise between good and bad and allow certain enjoyments within given certain restrictions, right? So likewise, our mind comprises of all these things, right? And sometimes you might wonder, right, why people behave very violently and in a very wild manner. So they are the people whose super ego is right a bit weak, and their id also is not really up to the required standard. So as a result, their id emerges, and it kinds of it cannot be controlled by super ego and the e, so that they behave in wild and violent. So if you see a person, you have to think, he is a person who is not having a proper super ego and eat, right? Okay, now right now you may have seen people with some what we call mental disorders. Have you seen people with mental disorders? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So what do you think the reason for their behavior? Why do they have those mental disorders? What is the reason? Yes. Now, if you read the note, you have some idea now, right? I want to check whether you really read the note. Now, what does Sigmund Freud says, right? What are the things that cause this kind of behaviors? Yes, tell me, please. Yes. Yes. Anybody? Yes.
Because
Yes.
of because of that they have faced previously some kind of mental problems or something. Mentally they felt something.
Yeah. Okay, right. Sometime means when have they faced this situation? During which period of their life?
Yeah, long period.
Mostly, right? Where if you have faced,
From childhood, sir.
yeah, very good, right? Especially if you right, if you have faced some unpleasant experiences during your childhood, from your from your toddlerhood, right? From your infancy, right, up until you become an adult. During this period, if you had faced some unpleasant and harrowing experiences, what happens is these things remain in your unconscious. So although, right, sometimes now you could be perfectly normal and that experience you had earlier, but it is there now. You might not remember it now. It is not a conscious thought in you now, right now. But since it is there in our unconscious, what happens is when we are sleeping and when we are subconscious or when we are unconscious, those things emerge. So when they emerge, right, they create kind of mental dilemmas in us. So these lead to mental issues, mental problems, right? This is why some people are having some disturbed behavioral patterns, especially mental behavioral patterns, as a result of those harrowing experiences they had during their childhood or when they were in a helpless state. Right now, say for example, right. People who have been raped, right? Especially children who have been abused. They are having more issues than normal children because those harrowing experiences they are not erased, but although they are forgotten, they are there in their subconscious and unconscious. So they come and conflict with their conscious thoughts, and as a result, these psychological disorders appear. So in order to solve these psychological issues, so what is the method used by Sigmund Freud? You have to know one more thing. Sigmund Freud was a doctor, right? Sigmund Freud was a doctor by profession. Although he is a psychologist, he was a doctor. So he was he was lot into all these medical practices. So he introduced a method called psychoanalysis, right? So psychotherapy. So the method he uses psychotherapy. So in order to do the psychotherapy, so he wanted to recall the unconscious. So in order to recall the unconscious thoughts, right, the method he uses there is a method he used. So you might know the name for that. Do you know it? What is the name for recalling those thoughts? What's it? What's it? Please tell me. Yes. Hello. What's it? Do you know? Do you know? Hello. 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 Do you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of something hypnotism? Have you heard a term called hypnotism? Yes or no? Hello.
No, sir.
Oh. Right, then I'll use a little bit of Sinhalese. Mohane කියලා එකක් අහලා තියෙනවද? Have you heard something called Mohane? Hello. මෝහණය කරනවා කියලා එකක් අහලා තියෙනවද ඔයාලා?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
එතකොට මෝහණය
sir.
කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? What is mohane? It is the English term for that is hypnotism. So hypnotize. Hypnotize means what? Right. You will, right? It is more like, it is very much the same way, the introspection, very much like the introspection, but this is done in a right scientific way, right? There is a process called right. You build a close relation now Now, suppose you are the patient, you are having a psychological disorder. Now, I am a doctor. So, when you come to me, I built a rapport with you, right? So, I establish a relationship with you. I mean, it is a medical relationship. so, you create a bond. So, I create a bond with you, and I make you reveal all the things, right, happen to you. Now this is more successful than introspection, because in introspection, right, if you want, you can avoid of telling the real truth. Here, of course, once you are hypnotized, you are in a state like trance. I mean, you are more like in a sleepy stage. So you will reveal all these things even without your knowledge, right? You will reveal all your bad experiences. So as a result, what happens? The psychologist is able to listen to your harrowing experiences and the things which are really torture in your unconscious and which are really trouble in your mind. So what we do is, right, what the psychologist does is, right, he listens to these things, he analyzes your problem, right, your statements, and then gives you therapy to drive away those thoughts from your mind. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That is what psychotherapy, right? This is the same thing
Excuse
that
me,
is
sir.
done. Yes.
If you
Yes, Mary?
have any presentation for this lesson, will you please share it in the screen?
No, right now I told you, right, I can share the screen, but now what I am doing is right now is I am explaining my presentation which I have shared with you. Okay, but what I am doing now is I am further explaining these ideas. I have briefly touched those things in my presentation, but I am giving you more insight into this, right? So what is the problem, right? Don't you understand, or do you have any issues with this?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
we don't.
Because I am not in a position to open the presentation at the moment. That's why, sir.
That's a problem, right? Should I share the screen? Shall I share
Yes,
the
sir.
screen? Wait,
Yes,
wait,
sir.
wait,
Yeah,
Better.
better, sir.
1 minute. One minute right now. Wait. document. So right, I don't know whether right because hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Now, so one of you
Yes, sir.
complained me that you are having difficulty in seeing the presentation. So I try to share it with you, but I find it difficult to share it because it says it is unsupported. Right, right. So how many right now? Do you all have? Do you all face the same problem, or only one or two?
We
Hello.
also.
Yeah. Now, what I wanted to do is right. I wanted you to have a look at your right presentation. I mean, you don't now. What is the problem you are facing now? Hello, hello.
Sir, to tell the truth,
Yeah.
we are not in a position to open the presentation at this moment.
Now, while you are listening to me, that is the problem you are having, right? Right. So, because I am also joining you with right now because I am not at home, right? I am at the college. So yesterday and today because official. So I am also using right this thing, right? I was trying to share it, but I found it difficult. Let's see. Okay, right now, and right, what am I to do?
Is it possible for me to like upload a picture of the slide on chat so everybody can see the chat?
Yeah, that is all right. Right now, actually, right, I don't know right now. I am trying to share it, but right now it a message appears saying that only the host can share. So I don't know whether I am not given the host status. So, so Arshad sir, are you there?
Uh, yeah, you are not a host, sir, not even the co-host.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was trying to share it, but that is the problem I am having. I don't know whether Arshad sir is online. Arshad sir, can you hear me? Arshad sir, other. Okay, now let's go for an option now, right? Because for the moment, otherwise it takes time. So what can we do, Puta, right now? One person suggested something. What was it?
I have the printout of it, sir, so I can click a picture and upload on the chat.
Okay, is it all right for others for the moment?
Yes,
Especially
sir.
those who are having trouble, right? Now let's try to do with this for today. For right from next day onwards, I'll ask Harshad sir to give me the host, and also I would be using in addition to my mobile device, I would be using the laptop. So with that, it would be easy to share things and all that, right? So right, let's manage with what we can do today. Is it all right, Puta? One who is having the problem. Hello. And please give me your feedback, right? Otherwise, I don't know what you are right, what you are feeling. One who requested sharing. Now, please please note that right now, since I am not the host or the co-host, the device doesn't allow me to do it, right? But right now, it seems that Arshad sir is not listening to us, or maybe all the Apex campus, there's somebody joining from Apex campus, right? He might not even be listening right now, or else he would have say right. He would have put me on as the host. So now what we have to do is we have to make do with what we have. So as one of your colleagues suggested, she's going to put a picture on your chat box. So you'll have to, those who have not having the facility, right, please view it. Is it all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please do it then. Please do it, right? Okay, right. Are you all right now? Shall we get back to the lesson? Hello. Hello.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
sure, sir.
Oh, okay. So I was discussing with you how psychological ailments or mental disorders are treated. So the method used today also is hypnotism. This was the method introduced by or invented by Sigmund Freud. This is why in days, even in our today's uh, even right now, if we consider the present world, right, especially the development of psychology and all that, even for today, right, uh, contribution of Sigmund Freud is very vast and right, very important. That is why he is considered as of the pioneers of uh, psychology, right? So his methods are used especially to treat mentally ill people. So the that he introduced is psychoanalysis. So it is called psychotherapy. So what you do is you in psychoanalysis, as the term defines it, you use the method called hypnotism, and you make your subjects to reveal all your unpleasant experiences. For that, he used the method called hypnotism. What is done in the hypnotism is he builds a rapport with the patient, and wins his or her confidence. Now he uses a scientific and medical method for that. So after that, what happens is that patient reveals all his unpleasant experiences without hiding anything. So what the psychologist does is he listens to all these things, analyzes information, and then identify what the problem, right? What kind of issue is troubling him. Then he gives some corrective measures, which is known as psychotherapy. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Ah.
sir.
So, right now, this method is there, right? But in our conventional society also, the same method is used in a different way, right? Can you suggest me some of these occasions in our conventional society, right? How is this, right? Now, this is the scientific approach, but this is done in a totally different way, but not in a scientific manner, but this also works. So I want you to name the occasions when it happens. Yes, yes, my dears. Come out your suggestions. Yes. Have you seen Bali and Tovil Shanti Karmas?
yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Have you
sir.
seen Bali Tovil Shanti Karmas and all that?
Yes.
So what is done in that also is the same thing, right? Now, right, I think each and everybody of you have seen these things, right? When somebody is under the influence of a devil or a right, what we call supernatural force, right? So right, they get kind of a so now in Sinhalese we call it yakagahano, right? Right now, when they see when people see a ghost, or when they are kind of when they meet right, paranormal phenomenon, right, what happens is they get frightened. So in order to exorcise, so the excess so what we call right now in Sinhalese you call it yakagahan, right? Then you have to what, you have to repel the yaka, right, or the devil, right? Now what is the term, the yaka yakku pannano කියන එකට English term එක මොකද්ද? What is the English term for driving the devil out of the victim? right? Exercise. What is the word? Exercise. Exercise, right? Yaka elonota කියන word එක මොකද්ද? What is the word? Hello.
Exercise.
Exercise. Exercise. In order to exercise, right? Not do this, right? What do? We organize Bali, Tovile, right? So there what is done, right? Right now, if you have seen, you can see, right? There is lot of fanfare, lot of music, not really music, right? Drum beating, crackers, and big chantings, right? And also, right, candles, right? Lightning, right? Camper lightning, right? All this that with Vilaku, right? And what is this? Right? All this fanfare, right? What you do is, right? You get the attraction, right? So the Aturea, the victim is there with the covering his whole body with the kind of cloth and all. But even though he is in a state of trance, right? He is able to see these things and hear these things, right? So what the witch doctor, අපි යකදුරාට කියන්නේ witch doctor කියලා. දන්නවනේ, right? What the witch doctor does is he is, right, telling now යකා ඵලයන් දැන්, right? Likewise, he's saying things and he's lighting that candle, right? And throwing what we call and also in the meantime drum beating takes place, right? So a lot of hype is there. With this, right, it gives some solace to the mind of the patient, so he subconsciously recovers from his experience, and he understands that now the problem he had is driven away from him. So this is what happens, right? In our society, right? This is how they are using this psychoanalysis method to cure some who are affected by this non-human influences, right? So anyway, right? And another thing is, right now, have you seen this? There are certain pastors, right? Now that Balitovil is one way, there is another method, right? Another way. Have you seen these pastors healing processes right now? Some people, certain people call themselves they call themselves the agents sent by the God, and they keep on chanting. So some of these are called pastors. So what they do is they organize healing sessions, right? Suakirime deva mehe, right? Have you heard of these kind of things?
Yes, sir.
So sometimes they say, right, they make dumb people speak, right, and even the cripples are made to walk and all that they say, right? Now what do you think about these things? Do you think they are able to do these things? What is your idea? Hello, tell me. Actually, do they have such miraculous powers? Can they make the crippled people walk, or can they dumb people talk and all that? Can they do these kind of things? Hello. Yes, my dears, please continue.
I don't think so.
But sometimes these things happen, right? So how do you think they happen?
By the strong belief.
Now actually what happens is this. Now if it is now suppose there is a person who cannot walk due to a physical disability, right? Then, right, no amount of these healing services can make him recover. Now in the meantime, suppose there is a person who is dumb because there is an issue with his speech organs. That is a physical defect. If the person has a physical defect, they cannot be healed. But there are people, right, who have been affected mentally, right? So they don't speak, right? So they are considered dumb because not because they are having any physical defect. They don't have any defective tongue, or their speech organs are not disturbed by any way. There is no physical damage, but due to a psychological damage, they are not speaking. In the meantime, there could be some people who are not walking, not because they are having any nervous issues, but because they are not walking due to a psychological issue. Such people, not everybody, but some of such people can be, they can be made to recover through this kind of healing services. Why? When now what is said there is, I believe in Jesus, believe in God, and God is going to make you recover. Now you are able to walk. Now you are able to talk. Now you stand up. Likewise, when these things, these are kind of mental therapies, right? These are kind of psychotherapies. So when these psychotherapies are done, right, the people who are having psychological issues, due to that psychological issue, those who are not walking or talking, they might speak or they might walk. Do you understand? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Ah,
sir.
Yes,
that
sir.
can happen.
Yes, sir.
We can't totally rule out they are not able to do things. They are able to do certain things because they are good orators, right? I mean, they are able to gather thousands of people around them because they are very smart talkers. They are very smart talkers, and also, right, they are very good motivators, and they have a lot of skills. Otherwise, you can't right now. Now think about us, right? Can we attract at least even 10, 15 people like that? No, right? But these people right now, you heard there was a fellow called Fast Jerome or someone, right? Now even some of the world famous cricketers, right, right now, they are risking their cricket careers and their personal publicity to promote these fellows, right? So they are very smart, right? So they are able to talk nicely. So it might serve as a psychotherapy. So as a result, right, those people with some psychological issues would recover. So now, when you are right, when you are doing this to hundreds of people, one or two people would having those problems might come, right, recover. So when they recover, they very nicely advertise it and say, here, see, this fellow, right, was not able to speak for a long time, but now he's speaking. This fellow was not able to walk, now he's walking. This is the miracle. This is the power of the God. Likewise, they are right. They use it. They use it. They exploit that opportunity and increase their publicity and swell their fan base. Do you understand? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
so that is what happens. So the contribution of Sigmund Freud, right, is there in official, official and unofficial. You can see these things, right? So I was sharing a bit of knowledge which is commonplace, but which is not in the syllabus. But when we deal with this subject, right, we have to know the importance of this, and we have to know how useful it is for us, right? Now, say for example, if you're a person who have mastered psychology, right, you can very easily attract the crowds, right? And you can become a very good manager, right? You can become a person who can read others' pulses. You can become, you are very close to becoming, right, telepathic, right? You don't really become telepathic, right? But you really come closer to become telepathic. So as a result, what you can really predict others' movements. You can very nicely guess others' movements, right? And their next moves and all that. If you do psychology well, and if you have a good knowledge of psychology, and if you have a good idea of proper observational methods, right? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with
Yes,
me?
sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
Now in the classroom, right, with the bit of knowledge, with the bit of psychology, you can right now, if you observe your students clearly, you can you can guess what their next move is, what they would do next likewise. So that is, it's not really telepathy, but it is something similar to that. Right? You know what's called telepathy really? I was talking now. Sometimes I might be giving you some words which you might not know. What is telepathy really? What is telepathy?
It's a kind of
Hello.
understanding what others are thinking.
Very good. Really, it is it is the ability to say what the others think. Now, some people right now it is said that right, some people are able to do it, especially those soothsayers and all that. They say that they have that power. They say that they
Yeah,
have
sir,
that power.
sometimes,
Yes.
no,
Yes, my
sometimes
dear.
that when we, I mean, when we think something, some people say the same thing that we were trying to say. That is also
That's it.
telepathy. Is that also
Yeah, that's
telepathy?
right. That's I mean, that means two people say the same thing together,
Yeah,
right?
at the
Is it?
same time. Yeah.
We say it could be telepathy, but it is still telepathy is right now. Suppose now you think of something, right? Now, if I have the telepathy, I should be able to say what you are
Yes.
what you are thinking about,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That is telepathy, right? Now, some people, right, have telepathy. So, especially when you master master the art of hypnotism and all that, especially psychological studies and all that, you achieve a kind of telepathy, not exactly telepathy, but kind of telepathy, right? So, we can assume the people with some supernatural powers and people right with say Lord Buddha also was able to read others' minds, it seems, right? Now they are the what is the specialty with Lord Buddha and the people, right? Those rishis and all that, right? They are the people who have developed their thinking powers by meditation. When you may do meditation a lot and all that, you spiritually enhance yourself, so you can attain a higher state of mentality. Then you might be able to do it. Now I don't know whether it is really true or false because I haven't achieved that status as yet. Right? So if I achieve it after doing a lot of meditations and all that, I will tell you one day, yes, it is true. Otherwise, I can't say whether it is true or false. But right, although we are looking at things in terms of science, we can't say everything is wrong. I mean, we can't say everything is null and void. Say, for example, we can't say there aren't gods. We can't say there aren't devils. We can't say right there aren't these paranormal phenomena. All these things we can't rule out, right? Just because it doesn't touch science or it not comes into the scope of science, we can't say they don't exist. They may exist or they may not. Right. Okay. Now let's come to the rest of the lesson. Right now we are dealing with psychology. You know how important psychology is, especially right now. Not only when you are a teacher, but also when you are a businessman. Right. If you know psychology, it's very easy for you to be successful in your field, right? Now, if you know right now, say that you are a businessman, you are a salesman. So if you are able to read the mind of your prospective customers, it is easy for you to do the transactions. Don't you think so? Hello, don't you think so? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. It's true.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now
Yes, it is
let's
like
go.
that.
Let's proceed. Okay, let's proceed. Right. Now I'm coming back to the slide. Right. So now here in the slide it says father of psychology, Sigmund Freud. We are talking about the modern psychology. right? Clinical psychology, right? Now, human behavior follows certain general trends. Now, Sigmund Freud, said that human behavior follows certain trends. So, studying psychology or knowing psychology means studying humans means what? Following and be having an understanding about these certain trends that the people follow. Individuals respond differently to elements in specific situations. What does it mean? Individuals respond differently to elements in specific situations. So, usually individuals, right, when they face different situations, right, their response are different from from situation to situation. An individual's behavior consists not only of his observable acts, but also of his reactions to inner states and different factors of influence. Right. Now, when you talk about somebody's behavior, right, it contains not only of the acts which we can observe. What are the acts we can observe? What he does, we can observe. In addition to that, there are other factors which influence his behavior. The factors that influence the individual's behavior are what? The factors that influence the individual's behavior are his education, personal factors, situational factors. Hello? Hello? Any problem?
No, sir. Family background like that.
Yeah. Family background, right.
Environment.
Environmental factors and customs and traditions of the locality. Sometimes right now, some subcultural influences also there, right? You know what's called a subculture? What is meant by subculture? In Sinhalese, you call upasanskriti. What is that? Subcultures. Now, according to the place we are living, right, and according to the people we are associating, there are certain different behavioral patterns and different value systems. These are part and parcel of our subculture. Not the main culture, but the subculture. Right. Okay. So what are the factors influencing the individual's behavior? Education, personal factors,
Situational factors,
environmental factors, and things around him, right? So objects he confronts with situations and conditions in which he lives. So all these factors contribute. The psychologists who are interested in studying human behavior will not only study different aspects of behavior, but also what are the similarities and differences among human reactions and what causes such behavior. When psychologists study human behavior, right, what do they study? They study different aspects of behavior, and also they will discuss the similarities and differences of these behaviors and the situations where these reactions occur. Okay, now we come to different fields of psychology. Right now, I told you psychology can be divided, main psychology can be divided into two categories, pure psychology and applied psychology. So we have now these are some of the branches: abnormal psychology, behavioral psychology, clinical psychology, cognitive psychology, likewise. Now, right. Okay, what is abnormal psychology? Yes. What is abnormal psychology?
Is the area that looks at
that is the psychology which deals with whom?
abnormal behaviors.
Abnormal behavior. Very good. What is called behavioral psychology?
Behavior, study of the
Study of behaviors of the people.
behaviors.
Yes.
People.
Clinical psychology.
Study
Yes.
of the
Assessments and treatments of the mental.
Very good.
treatments.
It is,
Yeah,
it is the branch of
medications.
psychology concerned with the assessment and treatment of mental illness, abnormal behavior, and psychiatric disorders. All right. Okay. What is called cognitive psychology?
That
Branch of
focus on
psychology that
internal
focus
mental
on
states.
internal
Focus
mental
on
The branch
internal
of
mental states.
that focuses on internal mental status. Right. Cognitive means
Mental
intelligence.
status.
Mental intelligence. It is specially related to our intelligence, right? Cognitive means intelligence, right? Developmental psychology is what? That is the psychology, right? Which studies about the changes that occurs during the growth throughout our life. So we
Life.
will discuss this development psychology. And our next lesson is that, right? Then education psychology is what? Is the branch of psychology concerned with schools teaching psychology,
Schools teaching
educational issues,
psychology,
and
educational
student
issues,
concerns.
and student concerns.
Actually, right, education, when it comes to education psychology, it is defined in different ways. You'll see, right? Psychology is definitions of psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of the behavior of an individual. Who says this? Daniel Kahneman says psychology is the scientific study of behavior of an individual.
Behavior of an individual.
One famous person, Skinner, what does he say?
It
Psychology
is
is
the science of
Science of
behavior and experience.
Very good, right. Then Joy Paul, what does he say?
It
Psychology
is the science of mental
mental
activity of an organism.
organism.
Of an organism. Who is called organism? Who is an organism?
Organism
Person.
means a person or
Person,
a
animal,
or
or
a
an
living
person,
living being.
Yeah, human, living being. Very good. Not a human being. Basically, it is human being, but generally, right, in generic terms, it should be a living being. Yes, very good. Psychology is the science that studies the responses which living individuals make to their environment. Who says this? Dr.
G.V.S. Murthy.
Dr. Murthy. Psychology is the study of human behavior and human relationships. Who says? William McGoll. William McGoll says psychology is the study of human behavior and human relationships. Psychology is the science which aims to give us better understanding and control of the behavior of the organism as a whole. Who says?
Kurt Koff.
Kurt Koffka. Okay, so now you learned about 5, 6. Even earlier also you learned some more. Now,
Sir, we cannot hear.
Sir, we can't hear you, sir.
now you have learned many definitions, right? Right.
Yeah.
For the exam and all that, do you need to remember all these definitions?
Maybe
Hello?
1 or 2.
No, sir.
It's
You don't want to
difficult.
remember all these things. So you remember at least 3 or 4, right? 3 or
Okay,
4
sir.
which you can remember. Then you can say this person said like this person said like this person said like this person said like this. After that, you should be able to give a definition combining some these thoughts together, and you have to give a general definition, or when you are asked to describe it. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
sir.
Oh, right. So let's go to the next slide. Scope of psychology. What is meant by really scope? Scope means what? Scope means what? Scope means the range. Scope means range.
Range.
Range. In English we call parasaya, the area, right? The extent. the application of psychology has a very wide area in the study of human behavior. Now, when it comes to the application of psychology, it has a very wide area. Now, again, I'm going to take you back to my yesterday's lesson. Right now, we learned that psychology is what? Study of what? Psychology is what? Study of what?
Study of
Behavior.
Behaviors of
behavior.
Earlier it was said it was the right. Early definitions are there. It was the study of soul. Then soul was replaced with mind. Then it was the study of consciousness. Then later on, we all came to a common agreement. It is the study of behavior. Now,
Behavior.
what is now behavior? But behavior has a very wide range. What is really behavior? Is it only conscious behavior?
No, in
No,
3
it's
dimensions, conscious, conscious
yeah,
Not
conscious,
conscious. It could be conscious.
subconscious and unconscious.
subconscious or unconscious.
Is it only human behavior?
No, animals
No.
also can be.
It could be human as well as animal. Is it only human and animal behavior only?
No,
No. It is the behavior of non-living things as well. So it is, so the behavior has a very wide term. Behavior has a very wide term, right? So likewise, let's see the scope of psychology, right? What is the scope of psychology? The application of psychology has a very wide area in the study of human behavior as follows. We'll see what? To identify the nature and characteristics of learn. Right. So one of the, right, what are, these are the areas, right, which comes under the, which compasses the scope of psychology. One is what? First one, I mean, these things you have to remember. So what are they? What are those areas? First
identify
one,
the
to
identify the nature and characteristics of learner.
Do you know? Do you understand what is meant by this? Nature and the characteristics. Nature means what?
Nature
And
means
characteristics. Nature means
the
the shape,
behavioral
right? What kind of
patterns, nature
pattern and all that. Yeah, characteristic means features. Characteristic means what?
features.
Features. Right, of a learn. What kind of features? Whether he is a quick learner, slow learner, right, and motivated learner, right, or kind of likewise, oh, right, I mean, demotivated learner, likewise. Do you understand? Right.
Yes, sir.
And also the second scope is what? First, you identify what kind of the learner he
Nature.
is. Right. So psychology involves, the scope of psychology involves first identifying the nature and the characteristic of the learner.
Characteristics of learner.
Then second
Then
step is what? Nature of learning
of
process.
learning process.
Learning process is what really? Learning
It's the
process.
way of learning.
Now, it's, I mean, you could say it is the way of learning, but we should be able to define it even great, I mean, better than that. Now, when you teach a lesson, right? What really happens when you teach? Now, suppose you want to teach something. What really happens? Now, just think and tell me. Use your brain and tell me. It's not a single act, it is a process. Teaching is what really? Teaching is not a single act. It is a process. So process involves what? Is it only one act or how many acts? Process?
So many.
More than
Process means it is a series of acts. It's a series of acts. Right. So sometimes, right now, imagine that you are a student, not a teacher. recall the teacher who impress you most. I mean, the person to whose lessons you like to listen most. Think about a teacher, right? In our life, we have met at least one person like that. That is why we have learned even up to the standard we are today. Or else we would have become school dropouts a long time ago, right? We would not be in this field, right? So we have had at least one teacher who had motivated us, who had played a big role in change in our lives, right? Basically for the good. Sometimes maybe for the bad. Don't think about those. I'm talking about people who have changed it for the good, right? Now, what you have to think about is what were the things that you really like about his his teaching. You have to think how he I mean, how he started the lesson, or what methods he used, right? Why it was more interesting than the others, right? And what mechanics he used, what kind of words he used, what kind of techniques he used, and why it was different from others, or what really made you like him or her likewise. Then you will be able to understand, right? Sometimes we are successful in teaching, while sometimes we are not that successful. When we are successful, we have to decide, right? We should be able to understand, right, why we were successful. Actually, right, as long as we are successful, it is not a problem. The problem occurs only when we are not successful. When we are not successful, we have to think very deeply and analyze what things have gone wrong in your unsuccessful. Then you have to, right, think about, you have to revisit the lesson and see how things went wrong and where things went wrong. And you can even discuss with with one of your colleagues and all that, even with an expert. And right, I understand or identify the areas where you have gone wrong and where you have been unsuccessful, and try to work on those areas, right? So this is why for a teacher, the nature of learning the nature of learning process is very important. Then the principles of teaching and teaching process. Then we have to write another area is learning about the principles related to teaching and teaching process. Right. So what are the principles? Can you give me some examples? Hello. Hello. Some of the teaching process that are involved in related to our teaching psychological uh, principles. Hello, can you please come out? Can you just guess and tell me? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, have you heard of things like this? Operant conditioning, classical conditioning,
No, sir.
learning theories. You haven't
Our
learned.
Student
learning
center,
theories, yeah.
organizing the student center.
Yeah, Pradha. Now, right now, you all are College of Education teachers, or what? What are you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Those who have passed out from colleges of education or training colleges have some idea about these things. And if you are a raw graduates, right, of course, you might not have some idea. So I'll tell you, right? Right now, in our third or fourth lesson, we are going to learn about Sorry, I got a call and it got disturbed, right? So are you all back? Hello? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, let's come to the lesson, right? Okay, right. We come to the right. Okay, the nature of learning process, right? So it's very important to learn the nature of learning process and how it takes place. Then principles of teaching. That's what we were talking about. So we will learn learning theories, right? So under this, right, we will learn many theories. Among these are right classical conditioning, operant conditioning, right, trial and error, right? And we got this zone of proximal learning. Likewise, there are many theories which really help us to may understand our teaching process and also to make it very meaningful, right? So knowledge of your psychology play a big role in making a difference in your career as a teacher, not only as a teacher but as a teacher educator, maybe as a principal, maybe as a education manager, and in all these areas, right? Then psychology deals with the human growth and development. Of course, the next lesson, second lesson is right growth and development. We are going to discuss in detail, right, how a child or a human being begins his life and how he matures up to the adulthood, right? We are going to discuss in terms of his physical development. We are going to discuss four aspects of physical human development called physical development, mental development, moral and emotional development, and social development, right? So it is a very wide area, right? There you will understand different stages, different intellectual developments, and all these things which are taking place in our children. Now I am going to explain, give you one or two small examples, right? Now can you remember the time, right, you learned geometry? You know what's called geometry? Hello?
Geometry study, yeah,
Yeah.
studying about the triangles, squares, and all
These
circles.
geographical shapes and all that, theorems and all that, right?
Yeah,
Okay, can you remember the time first these things were introduced to you? When were you introduced these things? At what age were you
in
introduced?
May
Yes?
in grade like when we were in grade 4, I mean 9 years old, finding
No,
the perimeter
no,
of a
no, nobody teaches you
triangle.
nobody teaches you geography, right, when you are in grade 4. I
Grade
am pretty
7,
sure.
I guess.
Grade 7, very good. Grade 7,
Geometry.
very good. Exactly, grade 7
No,
and beyond. Yes?
I thought it was geometry. It's geography. Okay.
Not geography, I'm talking about geometry, right?
Geometry. Okay.
Geometry in Sinhalese we call Jamitiya, right? All these theories, right? Triangles, right? All these circles, triangles, all these squares, parallelograms, right? All those theories, right? Prameyan, right? There are some 60,
Yeah,
60.
perimeter.
Yeah. So when
Finding the areas.
not the areas basically, but the geometry means that was also there, but geometry basically theories theories like in a triangle they are the sum of the
About angles and the sides and all.
yes, all these things, not only angles, everything related to these things, right? So there are theories, right? There are about 66 theories, I think, right? As I remember. So what they are called theorems. Prameyan, right? Oppu karanawa in Sinhalese, you prove it and is oppu karanna tiyanawa, sadhana karanna tiyanawa. Have you right? You might remember, right? So my question is, when did you learn this? At what age did you learn? Exactly, right? You are in grade 7 and above. So what is the age when you are
Yeah.
in grade 7? What is the age when you are in grade 7?
12.
12. So 12 means, right? What is the age, right? I mean, that is, there is a category, you can categorize your age right now. When you learn cognitive development, right? You talk about a person who has done a lot of research about child's cognitive development. There are two people. One main person is Piaget, Jean Piaget. So this Jean Piaget divides cognitive development into four stages, right? He divides it as sensory organs from 0 to 2. From birth to 2 years, he has given a name called sensory motor stage, right? Then from 2 to 7, he has given another name called pre-operation. From 7 to 9, 7 to 11, he has given another name called concrete operational. And 12 onwards up until the adulthood and even beyond that, there's a stage called formal operation. Now these things might be Greek to you, right? You might be thinking what this fellow is teaching us actually, but these things you are going to deal with. So when later on you will understand these things are very important, right? Now here what I wanted to tell you is, so now I told you about the formal operational stage. That formal operational stage starts when you are 12 and above, maybe 11, 12 and above. This formal operational stage is now in psychology, you learn our mind is ready to accept or learn abstract concepts only once we have reached our adult. Before that, we don't have the composition, we don't have the ability to understand abstract things. Right? So that if these things were taught at an earlier stage, we would not be able to understand. Because earlier stage is called concrete operational. Actually, what is meant by concrete operational is we are able to deal with things that we see only. No, we can't deal with things that are in our imagination. We are able to do it only once we have matured enough to become. Once we have matured enough to reach our stage of adolescence. Do you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So likewise, now if now suppose you are a maths teacher, you know maths very well, right? And you want to teach your students very well. You are a very dedicated teacher, but you will try to teach maths, geometry to grade 5 students or grade 4 students. What will happen? However good teacher you are, you might not be able to do it. Why is that? Because those children, they are not ready to learn. Their brains are not ready to deal with abstract concepts. So, won't you become a failure if you didn't know it? If you didn't know it, you will become a failure and you will become really disappointed with yourself. You would say, see, the trouble I am taking this much of trouble and that much of trouble, but still these fellows don't understand. And you will feel sorry for them also. They also try their level best. Not that they are negligent, but still they are not able to understand. Why? Whose fault? Your fault? No. Your student's fault? No. Whose fault?
Yeah.
It's the fault of the age, right? They are not yet
Ready.
ready to do those things. Very simply put, it is like that. Got it, my dears? Got it?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
knowing psychology helps you a lot to shape your career at all. Also, learning theories and all that will help you to design your lessons, right? Now, especially if you are a primary teacher, right? Now you will learn the primary students, they like bright colors, right? And bright things and nice things and all that. So when you are teaching them a lesson, if you make visual aids, use bright colors, beautiful things and all that, you can easily attract their attention. So what helps you get their attention, make your learning process successful? Your knowledge of psychology. You understand now? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
The techniques employed in teaching also, right? Right. So the scope involves the techniques employed in teaching. So you might be using various techniques, right? So as to which technique should be used for which kind of students, right? Your knowledge of child development. That is,
Psychology. Child.
yeah, which comes from psychology, which is part of psychology. Right. Then development and adjustment of psychological traits means qualities. Right. So in order to develop your psychological traits and qualities and to adjust those things, right, your knowledge of psychology helps. Scientific measurement and evaluation of psychological traits. Not only for that, but also for scientific measurement and evaluation of psychological traits of students and for students also, it will help. So likewise, the scope of psychology is very, very wide. Right? Is it clear to you now? Is it clear
Yes,
to you?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we come to the next thing, right? Importance of psychology. So why is psychology important? The study of psychology as the science of human behavior helps in identifying what? The abilities of individuals. The abilities of individuals mean different people, right? Then what?
The
To
needs
identify
of individuals.
the needs of individuals and techniques to be employed to motivate them. Now you will see, right? Now in psychology, you will understand, right? Especially a bit of methodology also, right, is contributed to this, right? Now, learners, right? We have different learners. What are the different kinds of learners? Do you know them? Who are the different kinds of learners?
Slow learners.
The
Okay.
visual learners.
That's what I wanted was that, but some were giving me some answers that they were also right. You might say slow learners, fast learners, quick learners,
Fast learners.
intelligent learners. Yes, they are also there. Hyperactive learners, gifted ones, or they are also there, right? But I was dealing. I was right. What I wanted to give me an example and give me answer is to this thing. Actually, right now, those varieties are there, as we mentioned, slow learners, gifted ones, right? People with learning difficulties, all they are. We can categorize into these categories. There are visual, auditory learners are there, visual learners are there,
Visual learners.
tactile learners are there. Three types of learners are there. Who are those? Auditory learners, visual
Auditory
learners,
learners, visual learners, and
tactile learners. Who are auditory learners?
Okay. Those who learn by listening.
Are people who can listen and learn, right? Simply listen and learn, they are auditory learners. Who are the best auditory learners? I mean, out of males and females?
Females.
Huh?
Females.
Females, are you sure?
Mhm.
Now, tell me.
Sure.
I'm very sure. You know why? Right? Now, look at the people who are passing, the percentage of those who are passing the exams, public exams in Sri Lanka. Who constitutes the greater percentage of those who pass the exams? Who? Huh? Who?
Females.
Female. Why is that?
Females.
Why is that? Why is that? Is it females are cleverer than males?
No, they sit and study and I mean, in schools, they listen.
Actually, our teaching
Sorry, sir,
method.
I couldn't hear you properly.
Again, right here. Can you hear? Okay. Hello.
Yes,
One
sir.
who can't hear me. Now, what happens is this, right? Our educational method or our education overall, right, is designed for auditory. For auditory teaching, right? Lecture methods and all these methods we are using basically are auditory methods, right? But right, so and naturally, right, biologically, it has been found out females are very good auditory learners.
Auditory learners.
Females are very good auditory learners. They have the ability to listen for a long time and retain things they listen to. They don't get usually they don't get fed up with listening, whereas men or the males very easily get distracted. But ladies, females can concentrate very hard, right? So that those who learn and retain, remember, because our exams are what? Our exams are based on what? Memory testing. In most of our
Memory
exams,
test.
what is tested is our memory. So you are very good at the memory test. But then there is what is the second type of learners? Visual learners. Who are
Visual
visual learners?
learners.
Sure.
Some
They
people
look-
are very they see things and learn. They see and learn.
See and learn.
Then there is another kind of people called tactile learners. Who are these tactile learners? They are the
They need
people
to
who
do practice.
they need to do. When they do only they will understand. Right. Then males are basically tactile learners. Males are basically tactile learners. But this doesn't mean that there aren't males who can learn by now we are talking about only a
Group.
common factor. Not all the females are auditory
Same.
learners. Not
Auditory
all the males
learners.
are tactile learners, right? But greater percentages are like that, right? But there are males who are very good auditory learners. There are people who have photographic memory, right? So everything uttered, they can remember certain people, not everybody, right? There are males also, right? But we are talking about average. Then suppose right now your class has people of all these varieties. There are people who are very good at listening and learning. There are those who are good at seeing and learning. Those who are good at doing and learning. There are some people, right? They will be able to learn only if all three things are done. Certain people are basically satisfied with listening and seeing, right? But there are certain people, they want to listen to, and they want to see it, and they want to do it. Then only they will learn. So that is why when you learn science and all that, there are practicals also, right? You do and learn. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Here, right now, when I am explaining, I take a bit of time, right? Sometimes, right, I might not be able to finish it on time as well. But I hope you you don't mind it, because most of the things that we are discussing are very important, right? So I just want to drive these points into your mind. Other than
Okay, sir.
I am not really concerned. Is it all right? I am not really concerned of just completing the syllabus. What is the,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, what do you want? I can do even complete the syllabus within the given time, or I can explain in detail and make you understand and go. Which way is better? You tell me.
Yes, sir.
This
This
way is
way is
okay, sir.
better
Oh,
while
good.
doing,
Yeah,
while explaining the lesson and
yeah. So, ah, uh, right. Importance
Putra,
of psychology. Yes. Yeah. Ah, Psychology is important for us to understand abilities of individuals and the needs of individuals and techniques to be employed to motivate them. The hereditary and environmental factors that affect the behavior. Hereditary factors are what? Biological factors. Environmental factors are what? The factors that are in our environment which affect the behavior. Right. So in order to understand these also, right, our psychology, our knowledge of psychology as the science of human behavior is important. Then what else? In order to identify the levels of achievement motivation of the individuals, and also to understand the levels of achievement of motivation of the individuals. In order to motivate others, we have to understand what levels of motivations are needed to achieve motivation. Then the factors that result in individual intellectual differences and reasons for people becoming problem men. In order to understand what factors really, right, result in individual and intellectual differences among people, and why certain people become problem people. So in order to identify these reasons also, right, psychology is important to us. Well, some more, right? In order to identify the factors that lead to differential perceptions. Perceptions means ideas, right? Now the people have different ideas. So in order to understand why it happens, it is important to understand. It is important to know psychology. Then the causes of retarded learning. Now when we teach, we can see there are people, those who are retarded, mentally retarded, right? Or else, or there could be people, there could be some reasons for learning retardation. Learning retardation means lack of learning. What causes that kind of retardations and how to get rid of them? All these things you will be able to identify only if you have a knowledge of psychology. Then the causes of emotions and frustration in human beings. I know to understand what are the reasons for our frustration. So for that also psychology helps. The causes of forgetting and how to improve memory. This is a great problem most of we and also most of our students have, right? Especially when we are getting ready, why don't we remember the stuff? What causes it to be so? Right. Then the levels of knowledge, attitudes possessed by the individuals, different levels of our knowledge, our attitudes, and things like that. the different psychological traits possessed by individuals. What kind of traits we have by the application of different tests and help in evaluation of the behavior of the individual. So these are the right now we have discussed many, but you don't need to remember all these things. At least remember 5 or 6 things when it comes to examination. But for the knowledge, you have to know all these things. But for the examination purpose, if you remember 5 or 6, it would do. Right. Then introduction to the science of educational psychology. Right. Education plays a vital role. Yes. Hello. 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 Right. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. It must be by mistake.
Right. Education plays a vital role in human behavior. We all know it. The desirable changes in behavior that represent basic features of education are what are the right desirable changes? Now, say for example, right now, education plays a vital role in human behavior that we all know. So, with the education, what happens? Certain good changes occurs in us, right? So this is what we call desirable changes, good changes. What causes these changes? Education. Okay, what are the changes that take place? Right. There are changes in our knowledge. There are changes in our skills. There are changes in our attitude. Right. Where these with the education, right? Where those changes take place? What are the 3 areas? Yes.
Knowledge, skills, attitude.
So these are known as 3 H's also. Right. Later on in education, we know these things as 3 H's. Head, hand. Can you fill the gap? What is the third one?
Heart.
Heart.
Heart. Very good. So head, it is about knowledge. That means cognitive domain. We call it the cognitive domain. Head. Right. Then the skill, it is we call it. It's about hands. Right. We call psychomotor domain.
Psychomotor.
Then heart, it comes under the affective domain. It helps. It changes our attitudes. Right. Okay. Then let's come to definitions of educational psychology. Right. Now, different people have defined in different ways. Right. Now, basically, we call education psychology is what? It is the application of findings of psychology in the field of education. That is basic. That is the basic definition. But let's look at some of the definitions given by these people. Pro and pro. What is that? Education psychology is the branch of psychology that describes and explains the learning experiences of an individual and the progress in his educational development from birth to old age.
Old age.
It's a bit longer, right? If you want to, do you know how to remember these definitions and all that? So what is the technique? Now you have to remember definitions, right? Now, what is the method you have to use for this? In order to remember? Yes, tell me. What is it? Yes.
Memorize.
One thing is right now one method I am using right now. I told you right now we are sometimes auditory learners, we are visual learners, also we are tactile learners. I told you if we do all these three things together, we definitely we will learn. Everybody will learn. So let's apply it for our studies, right? So what you do is right, get some blank sheets of papers and write it 5-6 times while reading them out. Now say for example, if you want to remember this, right, this is what you got to do, right? You while reading, write it down. Now say for example, now second month throw, what does he say? Educational psychology is the
Educational
study of
psychology is the study of the psychological aspects of
aspect of
educational
education
situation.
situation. So write it 10, not 10 times, 3-4 times while reading it out. You will easily remember. Even the earlier longer ones, write it for 5-6 times, right? While repeating the while reading it, read and write. So what you are doing is you are using all, I mean, avenues learn: auditory avenue, auditory avenue, visual avenue, and tactile avenues. Then you will easily remember. This is the method, right, which I've been using for my students to remember words, right? Basically, I was a language teacher before I became a lecturer. So now, I was an English language teacher. So I had I have used certain methods to make students remember words, right? Now those who have learned from me, right, if they really follow my advice, they will never ever have any issues with their dictation, because what I do is I make every word, every new word they find, right, I have asked them to write 10 times while reading, while reading it aloud, spellings with the meaning. Then you write 10 times, means you will remember the spelling, you will remember the pronunciation, as well as you will remember the meaning, right? So the same method you can use for your studying these definitions and all that. I know remembering definitions is not that easy, because so you have to find a certain way of doing, right? So we've been discussing this thing up to now. I think we can break now. So next day I will finish this, right? I will finish this presentation. There are about another 15 more slides, right? And I will finish this next during the next session. So please read the first chapter, the whole chapter, and the presentations. In the meantime, before you join my class next day, I will share the next I mean, only part of next day I will be able to complete. I will take only part of next day to complete the rest of this presentation. So I will start another lesson, right? Its presentation will be sent to you at least 2 days prior to your. So why then you can come to the class prepared better, right? Okay, now I'm going to wind up my session. Did you all understand what I explained?
Yes, sir.
If you have any complaints or any issues, please tell me. Now for today and yesterday, please bear with me. I had to do it offhand, kind of, right, because I did not bring right now. Currently, I am in my working place, which is the College of Education, right? But I had to come here all of a sudden because I was called for a sudden interview, because we are interviewing the next batch of students we are going to intake. So I had to come to replace somebody else, because I was not in the original plan for these interviews, but I was immediately called because one of our colleagues got absent, so I had to come immediately. So, and yeah, when the lecture was, I was assigned the yesterday's lecture, I was not right. I had not brought my stuff, and I was planning to go home today, but today also I couldn't go home, so I had to stay. So for these 2 days, right, I had some issues, but from next day onwards there won't be issues. I'll get them all sorted out, and in the meantime, I'll make sure that I will screen share, right, my sessions, my presentations from next day onward. Sorry for the inconvenience, and
It's
thank you
okay,
very much.
sir.
Thank you very much for bearing with me. Okay, then wish you a nice weekend, right? And let's meet next week. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir. Thank
Thank you
you,
very
Thank
sir.
you,
much,
sir.
sir.
Right.